Well, hello everyone. This is Carrie back with How to Homeschool My Child, and I am just excited to be here. It is fall over here in Texas. Oh, I was gonna say I'm losing my video, I'm losing my camera. Who knows what's going on? Anyway, fall came last week, and it's not as cold as probably up in Maine, but it is so nice and pleasant this morning. I went for a walk in a t-shirt, and I actually felt a little bit chilly. It was in the low 60s. That may not be cold for you, but it felt great. Anyway, I'm so glad that you're here, and we're going to talk today about how to de-stress mom. So there's two things if you could do. One, if you would like to leave a comment and just tell us your favorite thing about fall before we get going, and we could sort of talk about that. And one reason I bring that up is tomorrow night we are having our All Things Fall Facebook party. We're going to have freebies and door prizes and giveaways and sales and encouragement. You are in the trenches by now, especially if you just started this year. You've probably been homeschooling for like 4 or 5 weeks, and you might need a little bit of encouragement. So we're going to be talking about things to help you have more wins in your homeschool. And one of those things that we want to talk about is right now, how do we de-stress mom? And so I'm going to tell you, I was trying to make sure I had everything. One of my favorite ways to de-stress. Now, you may not like the answer that I'm going to give, but you could go ahead and share that. So leave a comment with your favorite thing about fall, or what is stressing you out right now. Turning off the air and opening the windows. Yes, Lisa, you don't know this, but in Texas, I mean, it's been 60 and it's chilly outside. So every morning I wake up for, like, I don't know, 30 minutes or an hour and leave all the windows open. The only thing is, sometimes those little mosquitoes come in, but oh well. Don't ask me how they can survive. But I love opening my windows in the morning and then trapping the cold air here in our house. I love that too. All right, I'm going to keep looking at the comments as we go. So anything else that people want to make a comment about. But let's just talk about being stressed out. And sometimes I think we put too much stress on us by being way too busy, but we're not going to talk about busyness today. What I want to talk about is something that I did this past weekend. I did it this summer. I've done it a lot. And that was, I got off of all the devices. Yes, like I was not scrolling around on this all the time, all weekend long. I wasn't working on my business. I didn't deal with any homeschool issues. I had some people that didn't get their orders, but they were writing me on Friday, and I didn't take care of it till today because I need a break. And our brains need to rest and they need to relax. So we're going to talk about that. This summer, and this has happened, we've taken a couple trips to Jellystone Park. And when we do, I don't bring my computer. I don't go checking whether I have a sale or a whatever. I just don't do any of that. This weekend, this coming up weekend, I can't believe I have a granddaughter that's turning 7 years old. But we have her birthday party on Saturday. And I'm going to tell you right now, we will all be enjoying each other and not on this. Now, my kids all have phones, so we do take pictures. I'm not saying I never saw this all weekend long. What I am saying is I was not focused on what came on the phone or came on my computer, or any device. The only thing, I will say this, I have books on my phone and I have my Bible, and every morning I read my Bible in bed before I get out of bed, and then I do some praying and read my Bible again. But so I do use this. I'm not saying that I never got on this all weekend long. Hunter called from Hawaii, and so I talked to him Saturday night. Like, who would have guessed? But if he's calling and I'm available, I'm going to talk. My sister called me last night. So yes, I didn't just say throw this away and not ever use it, but I took control. And I would say one thing that you can do, there's two things. Well, there's a lot of things, but here's two things to start with devices. You be an example and get off the devices, and then you can work with your kids to get off the devices. Because I know some of you are like, I can't get my kid off of here. And then I just want to go, who's in control? We need to rethink. And it may take months to restructure the way your house is and what is going on there as well. All right, so I've been sort of rambling. I got to that point. Okay, so let's talk about how this getting off of devices can help us here and can help us with our kids. I do think the very first thing that you need to do is actually find a way to everyone in the family take a break from devices. And you have to model that. Now, your spouse may or may not be into that. So it may be something that you have to model during the day. That's something. But I would really encourage you. You may not be able to take off for a whole weekend like our family's been able to do and all get together. But I bet you could find one Saturday this fall that all you did was spend time together as a family. You got rid of the housework. You got rid of the homeschool. You got rid of all the things. And you just did something fun. I remember one time we were in Idaho and we just drove from Moscow up to Potlatch, all the back roads up through the mountains, and then ate dinner at a little diner. It was a Friday afternoon. We were at the point of taking off on Friday afternoons to get some time with our family. You know, you do different things. I don't know what your family enjoys doing. I would say do something that gets off of electronics. I know some people, they say they relax by playing the games. Okay, I understand that. But there is something about getting it off. And here's the studies. I'm going to get to some science. There are studies that say our brain needs focus and unfocused time. That is I've got 3 things to share with you. Oh, yes, I was going to write these down. Okay, so we need focus, and this is good for your kids too. And we need unfocus. Focus, if I could just spell. We need focused and unfocused time. This is how we can rest and relax. Now, you need to be doing this with your kids too. Like when you're homeschooling, if you're trying to get them to homeschool for 3 hours straight, you got to fix some things. Focus. And if they're like 5 years old, 10-minute activity, 10-minute off, 10-minute on, 10-minute off. That will reduce some stress in your life. For yourself, you need focused time, but we also need unfocused time. I believe getting off this devices is one way, but I think when we go to some unfocused time, I'm going to talk about that, it is like an emotional cleansing. I felt like a brand new person, and then sometimes during the weekends, like, what am I going to do? Well, you know what? I got my old sewing out. I had been working on a quilt 4 or 5 years ago that I put aside, and I got it all out and all organized and I had to piece everything together. Now I just need to start sewing it all together. So there are things that you can actually do. Focused and unfocused time. Where am I? Focus mode, unfocused mode. We need both. Your kids need both. Now for me I don't have any kids here. I take 25 minutes and I work, and I take a 5-minute break. 25 minutes work, and I'm focused for those 25 minutes, and I'm unfocused for 5. I may go clean the bathroom. I may pray. I might empty the dishwasher, make a bed, or I may, who knows, I don't think I would go sew for 5 minutes, but you can do some creative things. There is something to be said, and the studies say that you are more productive and more creative when you have some unfocused time. Let me read this quote from Serena Pillay. It says, when you turn your focused brain off, it will retrieve memories and link ideas so that you become more creative. So your kids need a break just like you need a break. We need to take breaks, and our brains need that. Number 2 thing, and this sounds so obvious, but sometimes we don't pay attention, and that is sleep. You know, I said we need to rest and relax and sleep. And when we get together as a family, no one's in a hurry to get out of bed except the little kids, and then they crawl in bed with us. But you need sleep. You think that if you burn the midnight oil, you'd be more creative. Just the opposite happens. Studies show that when you get enough sleep, you are more productive and you are more creative. So I would say quit burning the midnight oil. If you think, and lots of times we're so tired by the end of the day, if you've been chasing kids everywhere, you don't have the energy to get that much done, and it's going to take you twice as long. Get some sleep and maybe wake up 30 minutes early. That might be another thing. I know we have morning and evening people, but anyway. Okay, so first thing we need is focused and unfocused time. Second thing we need is sleep. And then my favorite thing is, y'all are going to laugh at me, but this, again, scientific studies, You need to walk. Like you need to just get up and move. And even walking outside is better for you productivity wise and they say creativity wise. And all I'm saying is if you can do these things and you become more productive, you're less stressed out of everything. Now, y'all know I'm a person of faith. Prayer is the first thing. I am not forgetting God in this. I'm just giving you some very practical things. Now, I'm going to tell you right now. Focus and unfocus. Your brain needs a break. Sleep. We all need rest. Now, I know sometimes that's hard, especially if you've got babies. I'm not saying, but just take this with a grain of salt, okay? Walking, and especially walking outside. Now, if you've heard me tell any of my stories, I go for prayer walks almost every weekday morning, usually not on the weekends because I sleep in and I read in bed. So, but walking outside. Now, you may be going, how in the world am I going to get a walk in? I got all these kids and a stroller, and I really need to get two kids in the stroller. Well, what about when your husband comes home, give him a break, and as soon as dinner's over, let everyone else clean up the kitchen, and you go outside for 10 minutes. It doesn't need to be a mile walk. I think just going outside for 10 minutes, breathing fresh air. There is something about being outside. I will just tell you, I really haven't shared this much, but about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I got COVID positive. And it really only felt bad for about 3 days. And that was just in the mornings, which is strange. But I immediately, every morning, started just vitamin C, baby. I was taking vitamin C, 8 to 10,000 grams or milligrams or cc's, whatever, a day. I didn't know this, but I walked outside. We have a circle drive in our front yard. And I would just walk up and down that for 5 minutes, very slowly, especially if I wasn't feeling well in the morning. By the afternoon, I was feeling fine. I didn't really feel the effects of COVID in the afternoons. But that going outside and walking, that gives you vitamin D. I found out later, two of the things you're supposed to be giving yourself when you have COVID to have a milder case are vitamin C and vitamin D. Well, to me, it just seemed like common sense. I need to get outside. The weather was decent, and so I'm going to get outside and get some fresh air and get that fresh air in my lungs. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. I do think that I know I've read studies, walking and walking outside creates more creativity and productivity after walking. Here's what it says. Walking encourages more mind wandering, unfocused, and aids later in creativity. Not only walking, but walking outside offered added benefits since creativity didn't fade immediately afterwards. I come up with some of my most creative thoughts outside walking. And a lot of times I think it's because I'm talking to God or I'm trying to listen to God. But walking, it gets rid of all the thoughts of the day, or maybe it just feels like it all gets on you. The other thing is actually doing dishes. If I could do dishes by myself or vacuuming, I don't vacuum very much anymore. We got wood floors, but even sweeping, like some of those things are mundane, but it's the mundane that lets your brain unfocus and sort of get going and then be ready to be creative and productive. So, let's just review these 3 things that you can do to de-stress. Now, obviously, all of this is for me in the realm of faith, in the realm of going to God, but you need focused and unfocused time, I would say every day. And if you are so focused and so wound up, that is stressing you out. Now, some of you have said, oh, but it's my kids' attitude. They don't want to get school done. I would start right here with your children. Give them a little focused time and unfocused time. Then I would make sure that they are sleeping. This is for you, but you need to be able to teach this to your kids. Are they getting enough rest? Because if they're not, they're going to be whining. Even teenagers, and teenagers actually, I think, studies have shown they need as much or more than younger kids. And then walking. Maybe they're not walking, but are they going outside and running around or doing something, shooting baskets? Get them outside. My friend, I've told this story before, my friend down the street, her husband was in med school. Her kids are older. She's got grandkids now. But when they were little bitty, like, let's say 2 to 5 years old, living in New York State, she goes, every day I bundle them up in their jackets, send them outside and lock the door, and I had just 5 or 10 minutes by myself of unfocused time. She goes, they needed to get outside even though it was freezing cold. When we lived in Idaho, The cold didn't bother my kids. They love going outside and playing out in the snow or playing out in the cold. It's us. We're the ones that don't like it lots of times. So, three things: focus and unfocused time, sleeping, get the rest you need, and then walking, resting and relaxing. Those are just a few ideas. I know you're in the trenches now of homeschooling. The stress is probably feeling on top of you. So those are a few ideas. The other thing I just want to remind you, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 765 4, whatever, Facebook party, all things fall. But we are going to be talking about some more ideas of how do we get past sort of the not stress, but sometimes we just get stuck in homeschooling. It's been 4 or 5 weeks since a lot of you started, and you're trying to move forward and you're struggling a little. So we're going to be talking about that at the Facebook party. We will have fall freebies. We will have some giveaways, and I've got a sale that's coming up. So you just need to be there. It is tomorrow. It will be right here on this Facebook page, right on the main feed. Some people can't always find it. Go straight to the main page of this group. So, hey, I should have been looking at any other comments, but we don't have any. If you want to leave a comment, let me know what your favorite thing is about fall. Lisa already said one of my favorite things, that's opening the windows and letting the cool air inside. So, thanks so much for spending time with me. I am Carrie Beck with How to Homeschool My Child. Y'all have a great day.